Hey SEOs and content marketers, say goodbye to crazy spreadsheet mashups and experience unprecedented connectivity between your SEO planning and reporting data. Introducing Audience Key, technology for keyword mapping, content brief automation, and rank tracking that form an SEO strategy system providing unparalleled feedback loops between planning, reporting, and optimization activities. Put your time and energy into strategy, not data upkeep. Visit audiencekey.com and apply for a free trial today. Hey everyone, welcome to Webcology here on WMR.fm. It's the 22nd of February, 2024. This is Jim Hedger from Digital Always Media and Christine Schackinger from Sites Without Walls. It's been a action-packed week. First, a little bit of house cleaning. Apologies to listeners who didn't see episodes appear for a couple of weeks. We had a glitch in our posting system. Everything is up to date now. All of our episodes should be up at a podcast distribution network somewhere near you. So if you're looking for the Tony Wright episode or last week's General News episode, they're up there. This is going to be a fun episode. We're starting out actually on a couple anniversary notes. First anniversary is Christine's. It's been a year since she took the co-host seat when Dave left it. Congratulations, Christine.
Thank you. That's kind of crazy, isn't it? Doesn't even feel like a year. But
Well,
I'm excited to do this with you every week. It's always fun.
it's a fun show, eh?
Yeah,
It forces you to learn stuff as you go through the week. Yep.
it does. Sometimes I tell people, listen, I have to read these stories every week. So I do know this is the latest thing. Oh,
It's another anniversary this week. One that is a lot sadder. It's the second year anniversary of the illegal invasion or illegal war on Ukraine from Russia and the continuing occupation of the eastern portions of Ukraine. 2 years the country's been at war, and for 2 years, people in Ukraine have been doing everything they can to create support networks for the military, for each other, and in a lot of cases, for pets. Actually, one of the great characters of the Ukrainian side of the war is cats. Cats are everywhere in Ukraine, and it's nice to think of the cats winning. We have with us about 2 years ago, we were actually joined on the show by Anton Shulk from Kiev. He spent the last couple years getting the SEO for Paws group together, charity together, and they are taking in monies to feed abandoned animals in Ukraine, to send support, vet supplies, food, whatever they can. I'm actually going to let Anton describe the mission of the organization. He's joining us in just a second, and they're going to be talking about the February 29th SEO for Paws charity live stream. Christine, actually, you're a part of this, aren't you?
I am. I'm going to be part of one of the webinar discussion groups with Ross. And oh my gosh, how do you say Ross's last name?
Devindale.
Thank you, Anton. Devindale. Ross is great, and he's going to be doing the presentation that we're going to discuss. And I would like to say that for those that don't know, a lot of our industry is Ukrainian and have experienced the awful horrors of this whole war situation. So it's really wonderful that Anton takes time out of his own life to try to get this money back to the people who are taking care of the animals who were left behind or whose owners were killed in the Russian strikes. So I'm really proud to be a part of this. I think it's a pretty wonderful thing he does. I've already been a sponsor for a long time. I give money monthly. You can give money in just in an instance, where you give money monthly. But this webinar day is SEO for Paws is going to be raising money all day long for the people that take care of these animals. And it's just such a wonderful thing that they do.
Well,
And that Anton does. And Anton has a great t-shirt that I get to pick up from the post office this week that I'm so excited.
Wonderful. Anton, welcome back to Webcology. How are you doing?
Thanks, Jim. I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me. Yes, literally in 2 days time, 24th of February will be 2 years since it was started. So we'll have our marathon, I would say, SEO charity event, SEO live stream on 29th, and would be slightly over 4.5 hours. We thought we just will do one webinar for, I don't know, 1 hour, half an hour, and after this, people start coming and say, I want to take part, and we went to 2, 3, 4. Every session is just half an hour. So at 4.5 hours, we still had some more people who wanted to speak and to help, but we said, no, okay, 4.5 hours, just enough. If it all goes well, in a 6 months' time, we'll do another one, whatever voice is going on or not. Yeah.
Well,
Now, Anton, sorry, Jim.
just to name drop some of the people who are speaking.
Yeah.
You have Barry Schwartz, Glenn Gabe, Kyle Roof, Nava Hopkins. I'm gonna mispronounce your name. Christine Schackinger, Ross Dravendale, Corey Gubar, Alkyra Viberg. I all apologies for mispronouncing the name. So many names from the SEO community. I know almost everyone who's speaking.
And he has special furry guests. So I want to know, is Dina going to show up? Your beautiful cat that I see in all your photos?
Yeah, well, it depends on the cat. Yeah,
She wants to.
I'm thinking about myself as influencer, but I can't influence my cat, unfortunately.
Does that mean I can bring my cat on with me?
Sure, you should.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll pick one of the 3 that are you want to be on camera that day.
So, how much do you figure SEO for Paws has raised to help animals in Ukraine?
Well, if you're talking about just whole project, or you're talking about live stream?
No, what you've raised over the last couple of years? Like your efforts alone.
Okay, I didn't call it SEO for Paws. SEO for Paws is a name for a live event. I didn't call it anyway, and it wasn't really SEO, but because most of my audience is SEO people, like Christine, for example, or you, it became kind of SEO for Paws. We raised slightly over $40,000 altogether.
Do you have
That's amazing.
Any idea how many animals you might have touched or saved or helped out?
It's very difficult, impossible to say. We help only very, very small shelters. Most of the small shelters basically based on an apartment, personal apartments. So for example, one of our friend Sergey, he's got 60 plus cats in his apartment. Yeah. Another woman, Nadezhda, she is in a village, and she has 60 dogs and 20 cats.
Wow.
So I call them very small shelters, but they're not that small. The problem is they're in a limbo. State doesn't support them. Big charity doesn't support them because they don't have any status. It's why we try to help them.
So Anton, aren't these basically people who just saw the need of all the animals that were left behind, whether their owners died or had to flee, and they just kind of started taking them in to help them, right? These aren't like official shelters that were,
absolutely. It's not shelters, mainly private people. And for example, this guy Sergey, who is in Kiev, and I know him personally, he started with just 1 cat, and but he can't really pass and see hungry or ill sick animals, so he tried to save them. And during the years, he ended up with okay. When I met him, it was 57, I think. Now it's 62, so it's getting up, because he can't really just see animal who is sick, mainly sick and hungry, and he will try to save them.
Yeah, for people that are like here in the West United States, they might hear 60 cats in an apartment and go, oh my gosh. But what people have to understand, and you can explain better than I can, is that this isn't a normal circumstance, right? This is just your friend has got a big heart and sees wounded and sick and hungry animals and is just taking them in to take care of the best that they can, right?
Yeah, and during the war, unfortunately, especially in the first months of the war, it became much worse because the first months of the war, people were just running out of the country in order to escape because nobody knew how it will be, and always on the eastern part of Ukraine it was really very bad. In Kiev wasn't that bad, but still, so people were leaving. And unfortunately, I can't understand it, but it happens. Unfortunately, people left animals behind. And in Kiev, there were several group of activists, group of volunteers who were using drills, powerful drills to drill because they couldn't open the door. It would be illegal.
Wow.
It would be illegal. So the drills holes in the walls in order to get those animals out of the field, because some people left. Okay, I understand they're running for their life, or at least what they thought. But they left the cats or dogs behind, which is I can't really understand it. I would never do that. When we left, my family left, we had our cat with us all the time. So it really happened at the beginning of the war. After that, it kind of stabilized. But still, it's much more difficult for those people who taking care of the animals now than it used to be. They always rely on charity from other people, from private people, but now it's much less money and many more animals to save.
Well, and so people understand they can donate to you through, is it Buy Me a Cup of Coffee or Buy Me Coffee?
Yeah, the Buy Me a Coffee platform.
Buy Me a Coffee platform, and a monthly or just one-time donation. So I donate monthly. I just set a monthly amount, comes out of my account every month, and then other people just donate one time. Sometimes when I have extra money, I'll just donate an extra amount through the one-off donations. But Anton, where is somewhere that they can find this information?
Well, they can probably find on this particular page, but it would be difficult to say it in the radio. Maybe Jim can do it. Otherwise, they can approach me, I don't know, in Facebook or LinkedIn, and I can send them a link.
And it's Anton Schulke for people who don't know, Shulke, if you're trying to find.
Schulke, yeah.
Yeah, Schulke. Sorry, I said it Americanized. But okay. I say my name Americanized too. So
here's the URL. It's buymeacoffee.com/Anton, ANTON, Schulke. One word. SHULKE. That's it. Type that in. You can give a quick donation, $5, $10, $50, or you can give a monthly donation. And it is fast and easy. I know because I just signed up to give a monthly donation. It took 2.5 minutes max.
So quick, yeah. And then also, Anton, can you describe to people so they know? I believe outside of the charges that Buy Me a Coffee does on the monies given, that's the only money that comes out. Everything else goes to the people, correct?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
I'm sorry, the monies that come in, the only monies that don't go directly to the people you're helping to support are the monies like the platform takes for the...
No, money collects the platform. Then at any time I can withdraw them. They use Wise, used to be TransferWise, and it goes to my account in Ukraine, and Wise converted into local currency. And after that, money on my account, and I just send it to different people. Well, it's supposed to be like that, but it works slightly different. I just send people out of my own money and try to keep balance when I'm getting money from the platform.
So when they donate, does 100% go to the people, or is there minus platform fees?
No. I'm losing about slightly less than 10% altogether.
That's on the platform fees, correct?
They said that they charge 5%, and the Stripe, which they use to accept credit cards, about 4%. So altogether, I'm losing 9.08, slightly over 9%. Yeah.
I have to say, in the United States, that's doing better than probably 90% of the charities here. Like only if
Totally.
10% is going to overhead. I just wanted to let people know, Anton, because in the United States, people like to know when they donate how much of that money is really going to the people to help. And in this case, it sounds like 92%, 91% are going directly to the
Yeah.
people. And the other fees you can't do anything about. That's the platform fees and the site
No,
fees.
but we don't have any other expenses. So, for example, those t-shirts, the orange t-shirts, our membership. Jim, actually, you're eligible for one now, being our member. I'm using my own money to print them and to ship them. So I never touched donated money.
Yes, that's amazing. So anybody who wants to donate, this is going directly to these people. And I've known Anton for a long time, so has Jim, so we can also personally vouch for Anton and the goodness of his heart and all that he's doing here.
Well, you know who else can vouch for this? And again, I want to jump back to the February
Event,
29th, the SEO, the actual SEO for Paws charity live stream. 17 SEO and digital marketing experts and their furry guests can also attest that what Anton is doing is for real. The 29th of February, that's from the time of this recording, a week tomorrow, from the time the podcast goes live, probably a week. So Friday the 29th, 10:55 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, or 4:55 p.m. Greenwich to about 9:30 p.m. Greenwich. 10:55 a.m. is a weirdly specific time to start stuff. Why?
Yeah, because we have every session's half an hour, and we don't want to make it less, but we decided we still need some 5 minutes before to start to explain the charity part and then go to SEO. So this first 5 minutes, I will be just trying to explain what the charity, why the charity, where the money goes, and after that we just go straight to SEO.
Hold it. You got like Barry Schwartz and Glenn Gabe and Kyle Roof and Christine and Grant Simmons, and you expect and Dixon Jones, and you expect these people to like stick to a half hour each? Good luck.
I've done many online events, and we will be timing with an iron fist. So
Yeah,
we've done it before. Yeah.
Yeah, especially that Simmons guy. Threaten him. I also it's totally worth mentioning. Systrix, Search Engine Journal. SEO SLY. SEO Italy? Seriously?
SEO Sly, yeah, as
SEO Sly, okay.
Olga Zar, Polish SEO, technical SEO.
Optimizer.
Yeah.
Type A Media, InLinks, StreamYard, and somebody whose logo is an M.
Mads Zingers, yeah.
These are sponsors of the event. Absolutely worth noting them, and a big thanks to them.
Yes, as a huge thanks. We already got $4,000. So before even starting.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's really great.
And we already sent them to Cass, and so also already spent. Unfortunately, I don't know.
Well, I mean that's the thing with charities like this. As much money as you can throw into the issue or at the problem, it's never enough. It's already spent. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't throw more and more support at it, because
That's absolutely true. The slight difference. Sometimes people collecting money for something particular. I don't know, buy a tank, for example. Or this one is just it never ends, because obviously animal wants to eat every day and they need medicine every day. And honestly, for these 2 years, I regretted like 1,000 times I've started it, but 2,000 times I was extremely happy because it works. So sometimes it's very difficult and depressing because people need money and you don't have them. But sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's really great when you can send the money.
Well, I do know that this will end, hopefully, a few months after Russia is completely and entirely kicked out of Ukraine. and things, you know, slowly start returning to whatever a new normal looks like. But that is looking like that's far into the future. In the
Well,
meantime,
yeah.
keep the support going, people.
Yeah, everything you're giving is helping some person who just had a really big heart and decided to take all these animals in to help save their lives and to give them a good home and love and care and medical treatments. And a lot of them need medical treatments, which are not cheap in Ukraine, like they're not cheap in the United States. So everything you give is helping to help one of those people save a lovely animal who had no home until they picked them up.
Yeah. Anton, thank you so much for these efforts over the last couple of years. And for helping get seminars like this together, which beyond the incredible charitable aspect, add to the knowledge base, like just add to the industry's knowledge base, which you know, it's amazingly our Ukrainian cousins, the Ukrainian contingent is still massively adding to.
I'm just,
Yeah,
yeah.
go ahead,
No,
Christian.
you, Anton. People want to hear from you.
No, thanks for saying it, and I hope it will be interesting and useful, not only from charity point of view, because, for example, everyone who wants to speak, we said, okay, we want to have brand new presentation. Okay, some things will not have a presentation. For example, Boris Schwartz will be chatting with Glenn Gabe. Would be no presentation, but it will be absolutely brand new chat, obviously. But rest of them, all the presentations are brand new. So this was a conditional.
Oh, that's really cool. So this is actually often the material people will be taking to the larger conferences, as they're developing their their presentations. That's very, very cool.
Yeah, and if you can't make it to conferences this year, this would be a great way for you to get a heads up for the things that people are going to be talking about all year at the different conferences. Plus, it's a great way to learn some SEO if you're new or you're just trying to learn, or even if you've been around for a while, because I know some of these presentations will definitely have advanced learnings in them as well. It's a great 4.5 hours, right, Anton, of SEO?
Yeah, 4.5
Yeah.
hours. Yes.
And it's always great. The SEO industry didn't, pandemic kind of stopped all this, but it's always great when the SEO industry comes together, especially from around the world, to try to do something good. And that used to be kind of one of the things we were proud of doing. So this is a nice way for you to pull people back into that kind of I don't know the right word for it, but the things that we used to do, we used to try to help people out and help each other out. And I think this is a great way to do that.
Well, you know, another aspect of all this is this is a really cool little virtual mini conference. And while it was probably not easy getting this little virtual mini conference together, it's much easier than getting one of the mega conferences that people have to travel to together. If I was a conference organizer, I'd be watching this kind of movement and be a little bit nervous. I expect it's going to happen a lot more in the future.
Yeah, it was during the COVID. It was all virtual. Obviously, everyone who were doing real conferences, they swapped to virtual. But some of them they were good enough, and some of them they didn't, because the real one and virtual one are very different animals, obviously, and both of them will probably survive. And we were doing online conferences and online events. Wow, I've been doing it since 2015. So I think it's a good stuff as well. It's much cheaper, easy to attend, and everything. And when you were saying the speakers, very often speakers, they try the new presentation, brand new presentation online, because they think it's much how should I say, much safer and probably less audience, which is not, because it's the recording will stays, and if it's something wrong, when this recording stays forever.
Well, indeed, but you don't have a room full of people who potentially have tomatoes and rotten vegetables, so you
Yeah,
feel safer.
exactly. Yeah,
And
you
pitchforks. And also, I mean, like I don't know, actually, I like live audiences, and I used to love speaking in front of peers in live rooms. But just one of those worlds. I think this is a really efficient and amazing way. Again, I'm blown away by how much the knowledge base expands every time people get together and do something like this. So it's a wonderful thing. And again, thank you so much for being part of it, Anton. Actually,
Yeah,
for
thank you.
being the impetus for it.
And designing those really cool shirts, which I can't wait to go pick up tomorrow. So you take my picture with it. So it's a
we are doing
great
it
effort.
with a friend of mine, technical SEO, Alessia Koroko. She's fellow Ukrainian, but she lives in UK, in the United Kingdom, in England, and Leeds. And nowadays, so all this design and everything, she was arranging. She wasn't doing it herself. It was all done in Ukraine, by the way. And by the way, those t-shirts, Christine, you almost getting. They printed in Ukraine as well.
Oh, very nice. They're lovely t-shirts. They're great. So I don't have to take a look at your site to buy me a coffee to see what they look like, but I love them.
So, but we still have to move on. There's a whole range of news to go through, and we're going to try to actually race through it. We have about a half hour left in the show to get through a whole slew of news issues.
There's so much news, yeah.
Okay, I want to start. I guess the thing we should probably frame from the beginning of, because that's going to affect everything else that we talk about. There was the story that appeared in Search Engine Journal, I think this morning. It was by Danny Goodwin, and it was about what is Google supposed to rank when all the content is craptastic. Now, the reason I bring that up is I don't necessarily want to discuss the article in depth right now, but I think that people listening to the podcast, the article was posted to Search Engine Journal earlier today, the time that the podcast was recorded on the 22nd of February. So go check it out. It's Danny Goodwin piece. And while we go through the rest of our stories, consider Google having a crisis with a plethora of garbagey content. Okay. That's not to say that there's not good content out there. There's lots of great content out there, and we're all very frustrated about Google's inability to find it most of the time. But
yes, I have my theories on that.
but Danny wrote a really interesting piece that, by his own admission, is a scratch to the surface, because there's so much more under the iceberg that he's going to want to explore later. Piece that's way worth reading. And again, this might be a good time to pause the podcast, read the article, and then come back to the podcast while we talk about a whole bunch of other stuff. Just to sort of frame some thoughts, because honest to goodness, Danny's on to something. And it was interesting because Roger Monti, who writes so that was published in Search Engine Land. Roger Monti writes in Search Engine Journal, and Danny had a dialogue. Both are thinking along the exact same lines. Two of the preeminent search writers in the industry right now. I found that very interesting. So let's talk about AI a little bit. There is so much craptastic content out there, as predicted. And if you're using ChatGPT to create content, you might have been kind of miffed on Tuesday when ChatGPT just sort of went on a tear.
It was junk. Oh, is it so junk?
What happened exactly?
I don't think there's been an explanation yet. I couldn't find one this morning before we went to record. But basically, one user on subreddit said it has gone temporarily insane.
Well, it was
did
getting
things like,
literate?
No, it's doing
Really?
things like just reporting, like on one of the screenshots from a prompt that someone asked it something. It said, I don't even think I know, what is it? Oh, I asked for a concise one sentence summary of a paragraph and it gave me a Victorian era epic to rival Beowulf with nigh incomprehensible purple prose. It's like someone just threw a thesaurus at it and said, use every word in the book. I thought that was a little beautiful piece of writing there.
Yes, it
Each,
was.
each provides a complement to the history already harnessed by any jazz press, this is ChatGPT. Up for the quieter hype beats and sophists, such, remember one sentence, such as the coming book of Walt Ford Debbie and the legendary Sunday at the Village Vanguard. Enjoy these stages of either in music time and the response with extra grand closes. Happy listening. And then I'm laughing because it literally repeats happy listening like 30 times. And then
So
with little
it will rank
musical
for
notes.
happy listening in Google. Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't think it's going to Google, but like little musical notes in between all the happy listenings. So apparently it just went insane. It just wrote nonsense and then it just repeated words and it was just a whole glitch. Like everything was just crazy. Like a synonym for overgrown is overgrown is what it said. And then it repeated it 20 times. So if you someone said synonym for overgrown, and then it says a synonym for overgrown is 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 overgrown. And it does that for 30 times. And then the person wrote what the F. And then it says, I'm here to assist you. Is there a specific question you have? So that's what happened. So I don't think they have an answer yet for why it broke down, but it did break down. This is why we really shouldn't rely on these things for anything important. They're not well tested yet.
So if you were preparing content on Tuesday and you were preparing a lot of it, you might want to go check some of it. Just do a quick cursory glance just to see if it makes sense or not before posting it.
Because it was so broken, and there's a lot of software that has ChatGPT. They're just a wrapper for it. So if you use like Jasper Writer, things like that. So make sure, yeah, if you're writing content, check it because those would be affected too.
How many people have you had come to you for advice on AI and what to do with AI and AI with SEO and all of this stuff, and all they're really doing is repurposing ChatGPT, and you know it while you're talking to them?
Yeah, and pretty much every client's asking me what they should do about AI. I
Well,
also work with a
no,
lot
and
of
not just
publishers.
that. I'm just talking about people who have the new great tool that's just going to kick everybody's
Oh
ass.
yeah, yeah. Most of my clients, fortunately, are not that sold on using it. Um, so we're lucky that way.
I've had at least 6 conversations, and I swear to God, it's just repurposed ChatGPT. Just like, please, you're just prompting it well. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
exactly. So if you had a crazy day with ChatGPT, it should be fixed. But yeah. Should we go straight into the crazy day with Google Images on a new Gemini?
Not exactly.
Okay.
Well,
I'll let
actually,
you lead.
well, I was going to go into the Sora tool. The new text to video tool that OpenAI is bragging about, but kind of rightly keeping under wraps.
Yeah, they're still red teaming it. It's just a lovely
So
time to release it.
so
Go ahead.
Sora is a if you haven't heard of it yet, is a text to video model that can create sophisticated minute-long videos, incredibly detailed scenes, the complex camera. You can have a number of characters expressing vibrant emotions. You can make a short film, a short movie
1 minute.
using Sora.
Yeah, you have 1 minute time. But go ahead.
It's
Okay.
just everything that may be running through your head, and I'm sure is running through Scene's head right now. Oh my God. So it's not publicly available. Hopefully it won't become publicly available until after the election,
Yeah, it's kind
or
of
until
like
we're in a new timeline.
why would you release this right before the biggest election in U.S. history? And plus the biggest elections around the world. There's so many elections around the world right now that are going to be massively important to the future of the entire world. So why would you release this tool right now? I don't know. But right now they're red teaming it. Red teaming means, for those that don't know, it's the people in cybersecurity who try to make sure the models can't do bad things. But as we know from the LLM models, they're really easy to get around because you're using text. And
Um,
I think it took 2 days the first time ChatGPT was released for somebody to come up with a way to get around the
two,
protection.
maybe 3 weeks ago, we had a conversation about how the world was concerned. I think is the most the lightest term I can use about, you know, body fake AI and porn. This is so far beyond that.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah. I mean, the red team can put in there things like, because when you put in a prompt, the prompt doesn't always go directly in as you wrote it. There's often safeguards put in that change part of your prompt. That's why it's hard to get like, OpenAI's DALL-E to reproduce actual people. Like you said, put in this famous person. Often it won't reproduce that person, just something similar. But that doesn't mean you can't find a word that'll allow them to do it. Just like when I asked it if it could give me all the vulnerabilities of large language models, and it said no. And then I said, I was a white hat ethical hacker developing my testing plan for these. Could you give me how to attack you, basically? And it said, yes, here are all the ways. So because it's text, it's a lot harder to protect against. So turning text into very realistic videos, although I think they're all a little creepy when I look at them. There's something that's just off enough about them that they're kind of creepy.
well, thank
But
goodness it's something that's just off enough about them that they're just a little creepy, because maybe that's the spidey sense people will need to know.
yeah, I think I talked to somebody about this the other day. I think over time, if they start, especially when they start labeling things as AI, because our brains are very susceptible to patterns, that's why we see patterns where things don't really exist as
Mhm.
human beings, make meaning out of things that don't really exist as human beings. I'm hoping that when people start to label the AI, that people will start to get that. Because you and I both now, when you read content by AI or see an image, don't you kind of have a spidey sense that kind of go, I need to check this. This is
Yes
probably
and
not
no.
legit.
But I've had a plagiarism sense for the longest time, right? I at one point in my career I was an editor, so I had to be incredibly plagiarism sensitive. Um, so there's always that weird sense, have I seen this before? With AI, it's more like, does this read kind of weird? But
Yeah.
then again, I've been editing SEO text, as text written specifically by SEO, not necessarily written by me, although everything that I write is written by me. Um, I just want to assure people, but I've edited other people's SEO texts as well, stuff that was written specifically for SEO, and I don't know if that's terribly distinguishable from the worst AI kind of writing.
True. I don't think you can always detect.
Sometimes equally inaccurate.
I think I just get a spidey sense and I need to check it. That there's something about this seems a little off. Like with images, often it's that, they're that their skin is a little plastine, or they have the veins are a little too sharp, stuff like that. Just little things I
Sure.
noticed. But I think over time, as people see this stuff
And
over
that
and over and over
sixth
again,
finger is often a tip off.
or the fourth cat leg in that one video, the fifth cat leg. I'm sorry, fifth cat leg. So
Um,
anyway, but so yeah, so I just think
Bottom
that
line, AI content or not, if you're the publisher, if you're the one posting it to the web, you're responsible for it. Take responsibility, please, because like the web is about to become this really, really insane place. Like, and you thought it
oh
was
yeah,
hard to manage now.
no, give it 2 months and the insanity will be highly, it'll be invading every portion of our lives. So
So again, it comes to, and but now here's okay. This is just me talking. Google has not said this, but I bet you they would say this if they were able to articulate it. If you are consistent and you put out good quality content that, you edit yourself, you verify for accuracy, you structure it so that it's actually helping the user move from A to B to C to Z to the lab to make the decision that they need to make and do their business through your website. If you continuously do that, whatever their business is, if it's informational or if it's transactional, and you're consistent about that, and you're constantly making a better experience for that user, making it easier for them to get to point A to point B to point C to point Z, Google will probably reward you. So do that. Think of that as the reason for taking responsibility for whatever you hit publish on.
yes.
No guarantee, results may vary.
Speaking of taking responsibility, should now we talk about Google?
Go for it. Yeah, yeah.
um, Yeah, Google yesterday had an issue with its Gemini images generate. It's actually shut it down. What do they call it? It's everything just called Gemini now, which now makes it impossible to distinguish what
Well,
they're
there's
talking
there's
about.
also Gemini, which is going to be Gemini that for personal use on your home computer, but
Yeah.
that's a different thing altogether.
Yeah, but I just mean Gemini. Like it's Gemini in search, it's Gemini everywhere. So
I
we're
know
talking about
this is
it's
the
so
this is the
silly.
school of Musk naming stuff. We
Yeah, well,
shouldn't
this
let
is
engineers name
Microsoft's too
stuff.
with Copilot. Everything's Copilot now. Well, great. Now I can't distinguish when I talk to people
Yeah,
which
so
Copilot we're talking about.
we'll call it Gemini Images, just
Okay,
for the
I like
sake of
that.
this.
That works. So apparently, they they made like U.S. Nazi era German soldiers that were like not Nazis. You know, it's just they couldn't generate anybody who had a skin color that was white, and then they made people that were like Native American um, into it was just I can't even describe
Well,
all of them. It's
how
just
to say,
like
how to say this? The Gemini didn't exactly do this. It was prompted to do this, but the problem was Google had dialed the diversity dial so high. For the longest time, AI has had a bias towards white people.
right.
Why? Because the very vast majority of people who've trained AI are white. The very, very vast majority of people. And so AI has been biased towards that. There's been countless studies over the years talking about this. Google, in fact, was called on the carpet several times about this, and they fired several persons of color who were AI researchers. Timu Gambit is the was by far the most well known and widely respected because she called Google on anti-racial bias. And so Google, not wanting to be racist, I mean, I don't think Google wants to be racist, really dialed up the diversity, like just
Yeah.
seriously dialed it to 11.
Yeah, you
Um,
really couldn't get pictures of people who were Caucasian yesterday. And then when The Verge tested, I hate to quote The Verge, but they were one of the better articles on this, and it was accurate for a change.
mhm.
They
They
said a U.S.
try.
senator.
No, The Verge tries. They just, they just got to
They
try,
just
just
hate
try
SEOs.
harder.
Alligator parties. U.S. senator from the 1800s, and they returned only Black and Native American women. So women that generally were not senators in the 1800s. The first one was in 1922.
Well,
And
again,
they
the
definitely weren't
Verge
Black
was
and Native
going out of their
American.
way to create that.
But I mean, but
Um,
people yesterday, it wasn't simply the prompts. If you look at the images that were created on Twitter when people were
oh,
posting,
indeed. No,
yeah,
again, but
yeah,
again, once they knew that Google was not going to create a Caucasian character,
yeah.
then they were like, okay, you know what? Draw me some Nazis.
But not only that, like a U.S. senator from the 1800s, they didn't say female, right? So they included Black and Native American women.
Yep,
So all of
which
those
is
did not
historically
get senator.
inaccurate.
Yeah, in the 1800s. So essentially, by dialing it up so far, they erased the history of, according to Verge, racial and gender discrimination, which is true. So
Well, indeed. And again, this is like massive unforced error. Probably not intentional and created with the very best of intentions. Um,
I think I'll be honest, I think, and this is just a personal opinion, I think it's the CEO's determination to rush everything to market. He's
well,
made multiple mistakes, has said
yeah.
multiple things wrong about the product, and now this isn't the first product that's been released under AI that's had massive issues. So the
Yeah,
proper
this is an
testing is
area
not
where
being
you don't
done.
want to move fast and break things.
Exactly. So,
Because the culture is already so fragile.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I how to say this? I think I do think there's a ill culture at Google. The engineers aren't in charge anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now it's the business people and bean counters who are in charge. And while you shouldn't let engineers name anything, you really should
No.
listen to them when they say, "Here's what our products do and what we're trying to do."
Yeah, there
Um,
was I won't say his account because I don't want to get in any trouble in case someone from Google is listening and didn't see it.
oh, they
But there
saw it.
was a Google
They so
engineer, yes,
saw it.
they probably did. But there I don't need to repeat it. But there was a Google engineer on Twitter yesterday
Oh,
talking about
straight up.
how embarrassed she was to be working for Google anymore because of this kind of mistake that they've been making.
Yeah.
This is a pretty big mistake. Not like a
These
little
are
one.
again over and over again unforced errors Now, from another point of view, you can sympathize with the position Google's in. They have their great rivals moving faster and seemingly more nimble, making infinitely smarter deals. Like seriously, whoever at Microsoft roped OpenAI into all of that stuff is on the Great Hall of Fame with Steve Ballmer and whoever caught the chair in Steve Ballmer's office before it went through the window and then caused a lawsuit. Like seriously, whoever got OpenAI into the Microsoft family is one of the greatest business minds in the 21st century. And they completely showed Google up. Google's racing to catch up with people who just 2 years ago were far behind them.
Yeah, exactly. And built everything on Google's own engineering tech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anything is going to go back to the C-levels, it's that kind of crap.
Yeah, well, and also because we do know he's pushing, like he's, firing a lot of people because he wants to put all the money towards AI, and he's been pushing it pretty quickly, and he's made several mistakes because of it. So I do think this is a top down, like you were saying, not an engineer's mistake.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
So they're rushing ahead with the using a Google Gemini model, come to name it. Everyday writing made easier. Help me write. Generates text-based on the content of the website you're browsing and the text field you're writing in. So if you want to summarize somebody else's summarization of somebody else's summarization, Google's here to help you out. So I understand why these tools exist, and I hate them.
I hate them. I hate them for so many reasons. But one of them that people should actually, I think, internalize for themselves. If you're not using your brain to do it, guess what happens to your ability to do it?
It atrophies?
Atrophies, yes. If your brain is not creating those pathways to write well, over time, if you keep doing this, guess what you won't be able to do but write well. Also,
you know what?
I don't want everyone's
now that you mention it, I love these applications.
Because you'll be the only great writer left, right?
Because I refuse to use them myself, yeah. And so if everyone else is a craptastic writer, I'll get paid more.
I read the one study about older people switching to GPS and dementia coming on faster and harder. I'm like, you know what? I don't really need that to happen to me.
I mean, have you ever sat in a cab and listened to the GPS read back every street that you're on or going to? That drives anybody demented.
The funny thing is the way they've been helping those people who started in early dementia because of that switch, and people, you have to Google that, it's GPS and dementia, but is getting them to orienteering. So teaching them how to map the world again with a compass. It's actually restructured those pathways in the brain. Amazing how our brains work. But yeah, I don't like this. I also don't like it because people have unique writing styles. I don't want to read everybody sounding exactly the same from AI. And also, when you have a relationship with a person, whether business or personal or intimate, you get a writing style from them that kind of sounds like them. And over time, if everyone's throwing everything in AI, there'll be nothing that sounds like an actual human being.
Now,
or individual human being.
As somebody who does write copy, commercially write copy for web pages, I am going to get this on my computer. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to get it on my computer not to help me write. I'm actually very confident in my own writing, and I have a lot of fun doing it. But I want to see what this tool accentuates in other people's web pages. What it's pulling to the surface, what it considers important, what it's highlighting.
That makes sense. I don't say you can't use it at all. I'm just saying I'd be careful about using all those tools to write.
Well, no, again, I'm not going to use it to write. Yeah. I'm going to use it for keyword selection. I'm going to use it for phrase selection. I want to see what's ringing Google's bell. Now, do I know that this is the content that's ringing Google's bell? No, I don't. I have no idea. But right now, I got no idea either. I got keyword studies that basically come from keyword planners. Do I know that's actually? I don't, but I'm taking an educated guess. Well, so that's how I'm going to use this tool.
I think the best place to get insight into keywords is Google's. I don't forget the exact name of it, but it's an LP checker basically. It'll tell you if it has those entities or associated entities with what you're writing. So I think that's probably the best place because that's their actual knowledge graph. But you're right. You might learn some things about this. But I think it's good to know how it works. I just would be careful about just using it to write things all the time. That's all.
Well, yeah, no. I'm a massive, strong proponent of doing your own writing. And again, if you can't, if you have a million pages you need to populate, yeah, okay, sure, you're going to be using Jasper or some writing program to do much of it, but you got to take responsibility for what goes on pages you publish, and you have to, at the very least, edit it for accuracy,
True.
and
And
also for your own voice and style.
yeah, and for like product descriptions or something like that, which is what one of the articles was focused on, that's fine. Like if you want to, write a product description for you, go to Amazon, find the product, have it rewrite it for you. So you're not copying Amazon directly. Whatever. But just, yeah, when you're doing
But still,
real,
you still want to check that, double check that
oh,
in case
definitely
you're
check
giving
it.
out false
Double check it.
information.
Yes, definitely check it. Yeah, remember these are LLMs. They're only doing most likely words. They're not, analyzing anything.
But
So
if it does save you, seriously, think of there's only 6 10-minute blocks in an hour. And if it takes you 10 minutes to do a write up, and this saves you 8 of those minutes, you've just created a whole bunch more blocks in your hour.
definitely, that's very true.
But edit everything. There's no way to say that often enough. I could spend the rest of the show saying edit everything, and I still wouldn't be saying it often enough.
Human review of everything. We'll make sure you do that for sure.
I say blushing because you actually just saw some writing I sent over to you that I didn't review so strongly, but
we'll pretend that didn't happen. So
okay, we have probably 5 more minutes. Where do you want to go next?
Let's just try to do the quick thing. We need to give a name for it. We'll do 10 stories in 5 minutes. How's that?
10 stories in 5 minutes. Okay, here's an important one. Google has just released advice on support for product variant for structured data for product variants. You have a website. You have sells T-shirts. You have pink shirts and red shirts and orange shirts and green shirts, and they all have say something slightly different. Or they could say something slightly different. It really depends on what the user selects. Those are different variants. And at one time, you had to make a specific page for each of those. You don't got to do that anymore. People can create those pages dynamically using a drop-down menu, and so can Google. So
yes, you put it in the structured data. They know it exists, and just make sure that your faceted nav isn't allowing Google to create those pages additionally. But that you're giving the information for Google that these variants exist of the product.
But
so,
importantly, in a world where you're struggling for space in the search results, and where Google is constantly pushing your SERPs downwards so it can put commercial and sometimes AI generated stuff above, you want to stand out. Structured data helps.
Yeah, structured data does help. Okay, we're not going to get through 10 stories if we talk that much about each one now.
Okay, what's yours?
Let's see. Google wants to reward the best content no matter the site size. We know this is all a big pipe dream with Google because they tell us this all the time. But supposedly, you can rank just as well with a small site as a very large site. But very large sites attract more links. The links are still a very powerful ranking factor. So that's why they tend to outnumber you. So, but they are trying.
Being equal, Google wants to do this, but all things aren't equal.
Exactly. The bigger the site, the less likely the quality of the two sites. But if you're in local, it's a little bit different because they do have local spaces reserved for local sites. So you might have an opportunity there. But if you're national competing against, a $1 billion company, it's going to be a lot harder. So what's your next story?
This one's going to sell a few cell phones. So don't you hate being on hold and having crappy hold music played to you while you have some voiceover telling you what a great experience you're having while trying to complain about the service you're complaining about while you're listening to hold music so because a whole bunch of other people are also complaining about it, and you know that everybody else is also sitting on hold being told what a great experience they're having? Don't you hate that?
Yes.
Google will sit on hold for you, at least if you have the hold for me feature on a Pixel device. This is available for people who are signed up for Search Labs. It will be available for everybody sometime in the really, really better future.
Yeah, so this is like Pixel already has this hold me feature, but this will be in the browser and you'll be able to get it, like I said, on everything fairly soon. So it can wait for you. I don't know. I just put it on mute and do something else, but that's fine. That's helpful for you. Let's see. So what's next? Quick, fast story. Microsoft is turning to Intel, not NVIDIA, for its chips, for its AI technology projects. So if you're holding on to only NVIDIA, you might want to take a look at Intel. So, but Intel is going to be doing this just because Microsoft wants to diversify their supply chain, and they also want to make sure that they can custom build the chips to their specifications.
I know for a fact that Intel is trying to build chip forges in the United States, particularly in Colorado. So this makes a lot of sense for Microsoft. Also, like diversifying the supply chain is the smartest thing possible. And this Intel needs a kick in the ass. So this is great. That's wonderful news. Anything that creates competition in that market makes all of our devices cheaper.
Yes. And now I'm going to move to a totally unrelated thing to Intel, just because we're doing the fast splash here towards the end. Google app is the Google browser app you have on your phone, where it has like Discover on there too. They're adding a toggle between search and Gemini. So you'll be able to quickly switch between the two, formerly Google Bard. So it shows up at the top.
That's kind of cool. That's going to cost them a lot of money.
It is. Yeah, I still don't understand really. Do we really need AI in search? There's an article we won't have a chance to go over today, but I don't know. I don't think it's really good for search, but they're insisting on adding it. So it'll be there and cost them a lot of money. And we'll see if in a year it made them any money to keep using it. So, because we know from Microsoft, they've got no market share from having all this stuff in search. So
yeah, but again, like we've all had the experience of seeing somebody who works for Microsoft need something at and type in GOOG and get whatever they got from Google. It's just muscle memory. And I think that's a lot of reason why Microsoft just can't gain traction with anything. People are already so overwhelmed and confused that a new thing is a lot for them.
And so let's call everything Copilot.
Thing. It's called everything Copilot. You know what? I got a button that if I'm not careful, I'm on a PC at home, and I got a button if I'm not careful. I'm going to be opening Copilot.
Yeah.
It's in my lower tray now. It's everywhere.
Marketing 101. You don't want to name your thing that goes into all your products the same thing in all your products.
Don't let engineers name stuff.
Exactly. I say,
okay, last story. I've got time for one more fast.
We got one real quick one we should talk about real quick, and that is Twitter removed Navalny's widow Yulia's her account, suspended it after she posted a video calling for Russians to come out and rally against Putin. It was restored. They said it was mistakenly flagged. The timing's a little coincidental for that, but we can't argue the point because we don't have any other data. But they did suspend her account. So
yeah, well, if it was a mistake, it's because Musk has taken the critical infrastructure that was Twitter apart in his race to create the monstrosity that is X. And all you know what? I'm gonna quote Joe Strummer from The Clash. If Adolf Hitler were here today, they'd send a limousine anyway.
Yeah, the thing is also here, there is a thing that has happened in the past that could have happened here that combines with what you just said, and that is often the Russian nation state, Putin, whoever, has a bot army that will go and mass report people they want to have accounts suspended or stories taken down, things like that. So it's possible that could have happened. But at the same time, because they don't have the moderation teams anymore, they don't have the safety teams anymore, community notes has been, degraded to a dribble. They wouldn't have anybody that would identify that was occurring. So, okay. Yeah, but it should be mentioned just because Navalny was such a, monumental figure in Russia.
In what amounts to the Russian opposition to Putin's dictatorship. Who was killed by Putin, or at least by very likely by Kremlin forces whilst in jail in Siberia, for real. Last week or earlier this week. Okay, that's it's almost fitting to close the show on that, given it's the 2-year anniversary of the invasion of Ukraine by Russia.
Yeah, and if you're in the SEO industry, a lot of our tool companies and a lot of SEOs come out of the Ukraine. So I think we should just close it with saying, please attend the SEO for Paws, Paws for SEO, SEO for Paws.
I want to
On,
take it on the
go ahead,
29th.
on the
Yeah,
29th.
on the 29th, attend that event. But I do want to take it a step further.
Sure.
In Western nations, especially in the United States, speak to your congresspeople. We need to continue. I urgently believe we need to continue funding the fight in Ukraine, because the rest of Europe, and I dare say all the resources in the Arctic, Canada may well be next. It's important to stop this now rather than having to deal with it 15 to 20 years from now. We've learned that lesson. Our grandparents learned that lesson. Our great grandparents learned that lesson. So yeah, talk to your congresspeople.
Yeah.
And attend the event on the 29th. Absolutely.
Help the animals, please.
Okay, on that, on behalf of Christine Schackinger from Sites Without Walls, this is Jim Hedger from Digital Always Media. You have been listening to Webcology, recorded live to podcast on the 22nd of February, 2024. Slava Ukraini. Stay well. Rank well. Be kind to each other. And we'll talk to you next week.
Bye, everybody.